Super Mario RPG is easily my game of the year. I've got it right here. Bought a physical copy, of course. It's a beautiful case. Would have loved to see them replicate the American Super Nintendo box art, but hey, I'll go with this. This is still a classic. I believe this is the, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm sorry for the glare, I believe this is the Japanese box art. But anyways, I'll put this down. You've seen it. It's fantastic. I have the original because I have a SNES Mini or Classic Edition, whatever it's called. I've got it on Wii U. I think I've got it on my actual Wii too. I haven't turned on my Wii in years, so I don't know what I purchased on there digitally. But the original is fantastic, and the remake is almost beat for beat. There's a couple of modernization changes that were made, like there is some visual flair, like when you block, an actual shield comes up, and there's a super meter, and you can do super attacks. I don't think super attacks were in the original. I forget what they're called in this, but they're sort of like trio attacks of some sort, like the three characters that are on the screen. They do an attack together or a special move together. So there's some updates to what's there, but very little actual modernization that takes place. And I think that is how you do a remake. You have modernization where it's needed, but you don't completely overhaul something that is considered to be a cult classic. This game feels like the classic game, and what adds to that is when you use the classic soundtrack, for sure. And I think what works for me really well is that the original game visually is hard to look at times. Like, you can tell what you're looking at, sure, but there's a lot of times where you need to know what's going on in order to, time your attacks, and sometimes it's just hard to see. It's just really hard to see. I need to go back and actually beat the original now that I've beaten the remake, but this one does feel easier in some ways. Maybe it's just because I played more RPGs since I started playing Super Mario RPG Original. But I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it very much. I did finally beat it. I beat Smithy. He was not easy, but it was a fun experience. It was truly a fun experience, and I can't wait to do it again. I'm going to probably play through it again, I don't know, January, and I'm really looking forward to Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, which is a game that I've only rented a couple of times, but oh my gosh, what a time to be alive when there's so many great Mario RPGs coming out. It's like Chugga Conroy said one time, Mario RPGs aren't garbage anymore. Now, of course, he was more vulgar than that, but still. What a great time to be a fan of Mario RPGs, and of RPGs in general. You know how many great RPGs have come out in the past 2 or 3 years and are continuing to come out? They just announced a new Mana game from Square. You got Octopath Traveler 1 and 2. You've got a remake of Dragon Quest III on the way, a new Dragon Quest on the way. We got a Dragon Quest Monsters game finally after all of these years. I mean, all of these games, all the remakes, and the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters on Switch and all these other consoles. What a great time to be a fan of classic turn-based RPGs and JRPGs. It's just a wonderful, wonderful time. And I think Super Mario RPG takes the cake. Now, it's not the only great game I've played this year. Alien Hominid Invasion was another game that I played and have been looking forward to for years since its announcement. And now that it's out, it is a fantastic game. Much harder than I was anticipating, but it is still fantastic, and I love it, and I revisit it all the time. And then another great game that was released was this, Sonic Superstars. This was a surprise for me. I bought this over Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and I'll get Super Mario Bros. Wonder eventually, but Sonic Superstars really surprised me in the sense that I wasn't expecting a 2.5D Sonic game to be that good, and it is that good. It's got the physics down. It's got a wonderful character selection. The stages are great, and they're fun to play. Still haven't beaten it yet because I had to kind of pause when I got Super Mario RPG and Alien Hominid Invasion. But from what I've been playing, I truly enjoy it. It's got a great feel. It's got a great soundtrack. Just wonderful. This has been a truly great gaming year. I started off the year with I believe Octopath Traveler 2, which I also should have brought to show you guys, but it's great, and I still need to beat that. And then there's Sea of Stars, the indie game, the indie JRPG, which is fantastic. Really like that one. Need to actually get it. I probably won't get it till January or sometime next year. But It's been great. Gaming has been great outside of a lot of the mainstream stuff, and even some of the mainstream stuff like Sonic and Mario. You know, both of these games, I've got them together. I mean, they're two great entries in the mainstream, and they're just basically games that are classical. They're not too fancy. There's not too much to them. They're just straightforward, old school, fun video games. That's what's making a comeback. It's not all this stuff that's layered with complexities. Yeah, you're getting some of these remakes that are more modernized, but you're getting a lot of remakes that are also just simple, straightforward, updated visually and mechanically to be more smooth, to do technically what they weren't able to do on older hardware. And so what was already great becomes greater. I'm not a fan of remaking a game and completely changing it like what they did with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I know a lot of people love that game, and fair enough. I like the original, still haven't beaten it. There's a lot of games I haven't beaten, guys. But I'm not a fan of completely overhauling a classic game and making it into something new. Some people are fine with that as long as they get the same story beats and whatever. I'm not one of those people. I like a straightforward, honest remake or port or completely new concept based on something old. You know, like Sonic Superstars. I think that's what's great. Sonic Superstars is not, it's not a remake of any of the classic Sonics. It's more of a tribute to classic Sonics in the modern day with some modern mechanics that actually do work and fit the experience. That nothing feels too gimmicky in it, at least not as far as I've played. And same with Super Mario RPG. Nothing feels too out of place. Yeah, the translation isn't the exact same one. It's far more accurate. There's a couple visual changes, but it feels like, if nothing else, a good tribute to the original. For some people, the original will always be better. I saw a lot of comments of people saying that they won't touch the new one because there's too many changes. And I think they don't know what they're missing. I think if you love the original, you're great at the original, you'll love the remake. The remake does everything it can to stay as faithful to the original as possible. But obviously some changes are going to be made because it's however many years later. What was it, 96, 97 that Super Mario RPG was released? Very late in the Super Nintendo's lifespan. So we're lucky we even got one. And we're lucky we're getting Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, one of the best Paper Mario games ever made. It's just arguably the best Paper Mario ever made. It's super exciting. And I love seeing Super Mario RPG doing so well, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and Sonic Superstars, and Alien Hominid Invasion, and Sea of Stars, and Octopath Traveler. So many good games. Too many for people to keep track of and have time for. But people are able to build up a solid, backlog of stuff. And that's what I've been doing over the course of several years. So I really probably shouldn't be buying more new games. I should be going through a lot of my old stuff as I'm seeing stacks of games from my Xbox One, my Wii U, my PS3. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I don't touch anymore. Maybe I should sell at some point, but I don't like selling games. I like having a massive back library, so if I ever do get truly bored and want to break away from all the internet madness, I've got stuff to play. So, yeah, that's my game of the year. I don't care what the Game Awards Game of the Year is. It's a whole nother video for another day. I made a Game Awards video. I don't know if this will come out before or after this video, but that's my game of the year, Super Mario RPG. I think it's fantastic. I have a great time with it. It's a relatively short game if you know what you're doing, and if you don't go for 100%, which I usually don't. But it's still fun, and it's a great tribute. It's great to see stuff that you could barely make out in the original rendered fully in 2.5D. It's great. The character models are, everything is a tribute to the original, and it's great. It truly is great. So I would highly recommend it. I think it's my game of the year. I would also recommend Sonic Superstars. I think it's a fantastic time if you're a classic Sonic fan. Is it better than Sonic Mania? I don't think so, but it's not a bad 2D Sonic entry. I wouldn't mind more in the Superstar series. I wouldn't mind another Mania. I think that's what a lot of people want, but hey, I wouldn't say no to a Superstars 2. I think it's fine. So, we're in a great time of gaming, ladies and gentlemen. We really are. There's still a lot of horrible AAA shenanigans going on with some of these studios, but if you can ignore that and just focus on the good releases, I think things are good. I think things are very good. So, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Super Koopa TV. God bless. Have a good one. Peace.